Vanakkam, Pranam, Shiv Sanjeevi Sripati, Simhaji. Now that Pitru Paksha or Mahalya Paksha or the Shraddh is continuing, there is a certain point that we hear people ask certain questions that people raise, and I would like your view on this. When we feed the Brahmins, what is the original ritual? Is it just feeding the Brahmins? Why only the Brahmins? Why not anyone who is a Brahmin by karma, by doing his or her duty most diligently, honestly, sincerely, is a Brahmin? So Brahman is the highest form of evolution and not a caste per se. What's your opinion on this about feeding the Brahmins and the position of a Brahman? Who is a Brahman?
Shri Gurubhyo Namaha, Shri Matre Namaha. One who is in the quest or one who is on the path of attaining the Brahman is a Brahmin. And here by Brahman, we mean the cosmic power, what we call as God, Bhagavan, which has taken different forms. So anyone who is on the path to realizing it. For example, we call someone a doctor once they complete their MBBS degree and MD degree, so on. In fact, they attach certain degrees, FRCS, etc. For a civil engineer, it's different. For a lawyer, it's different. For a teacher, it's different. So similarly, here we are talking about a process of evolution, a process of realization. There is a very beautiful work on the divine as Shiva by Manikya Vasakar, who is one of the 63 Nayanmars. And he says that I was born as a stone, as a worm, as a bird, as an animal, and then as a human. And even after being born as a human, to remember you is your grace. Here he is addressing the divine as you. So here we are looking at anybody who is asking certain questions rather than just living a monotonous life of, food, sleep, procreation, but goes beyond and asks, why are we here? And tries to search for the answer.
So when we talk about feeding the Brahman, does it mean feeding the Brahman who has been born in the Brahman caste, or someone who is exalted into being a Brahman by being a seeker, and that person could have been born as a Shudra, as a Vaishya, as a Kshatriya, anything, or maybe may have been born, as you said, into any of the other species that were created by the divine?
The process of feeding that is very unique to Sanatana Dharma is not limited at all. It is a wide field. As people who are cooking in the kitchen, we incur certain karmas because we are grinding, we are crushing. So, to overcome that, we have certain acts prescribed. One is the Deva Yajna, wherein you offer prayers, rituals to the gods. There is the Pitru Yajna, wherein we offer our devotion towards our Pitris or our forefathers. There is also the Bhuta Yajna, wherein we are feeding fellow born brothers and sisters. This can be feeding birds, animals. To give a very simple example, we all do this. We water plants in our house. Outside, there is a practice of offering water to trees, which is all the same. Offering food to cows, crows, dogs, cats, in whichever form you see the divine. Specifically in Pitru Paksha, in fact, it is recommended to feed crows every day, feed cows every day, feed dogs every day. We call it as the Shwana Bhojanam, Go Bhojanam, and the because we are talking about maintaining the ecosystem. And the other thing is the act of sharing. Now, you may ask a question here, why a crow? There are so many other birds. Parrots are there. Everything should be fed. But the connection with the crow here is because if you see, the crow is one animal which shares. If it finds a piece of food, it won't keep it for itself. It will immediately caw and call its other members. This is a very important aspect unique to the animal kingdom, which is a lesson we also have to learn today in today's times when brothers and sisters and parents and everyone are fighting for varied purposes and apparent boundaries and borders. So the other aspect over here is um, people may ask, how is it that if I offer something over here, how will it reach my forefathers or how will it reach my pitras? In earlier times, we would send a telegram. So to send a telegram, I have to go to the post office and pay money. And I just write and give. My marriage is fixed. For example, a message. I don't know how it works, but the post office does certain actions and it reaches the receiver not in the form of the money I gave, but in the form of the message I sent. We send a WhatsApp, we use countless gadgets, we may not know how it works, but it gives us the desired result. Similarly, just like how machines are functioning on a particular principle, these acts of donating, of feeding, all of them are designed along with the power of mantra, the darba grass, and the sesame seeds that ensure that our acts, whatever we do, reach the required destination and reach our pitris. In short, energizing our DNA from within.
Wonderful. And it is also a matter of remembrance and connecting to our roots, our ancestors, a sort of closure or a sort of continuity where we have fixed a certain time when we remember our ancestors. And interestingly, similar remembrances happen in most cultures, whether they have been from earlier periods or whether they have come later. For example, there is the All Souls Day, which many Catholic and other Christian communities celebrate when they cook their ancestors' favorite foods, when they cook some special breads, they light their lamps, toll their bells, and feed the poor people, feed the children who come to pray for their ancestors. So that feeding the children is also just like feeding the Brahman. The Brahman means the exalted one or the one who is pure or simple in the heart. Would you like to say something like sometimes distortions do happen? For example, someone says, "Okay, you will give give a mobile phone; it will reach your ancestor," right? So that would be a joke. And for this, and for the Brahman as caste versus Brahman as karma, there's a story of Swami Eknath from Maharashtra. Uh, would you like to say about that when Krishna himself arrives and Eknath actually feeds the persons helping the cleaning in the house first, and the Brahmins get angry, and the Krishna himself arrives along with the ancestors. So our traditions are very clear about it, that we do not go with distortions, but distortions do happen. So
For example, if we have to undergo with the ongoing pandemic that is going on, if I have to take a vaccine, can I take it at home, or can I go to a mall and take it, or can I take it from a departmental store, or do I have to follow the particular protocol listed by the government? Meaning, I need someone who is a nurse or a doctor to administer it to me. Let us take another example. If I'm going to have, uh, if I need an admission to any particular college, I will go and talk to the education department. I will go and talk to the teachers. I will go and talk to the principal. I will not go and ask, unfortunately, in today's times, we ask other people about that particular system. So here we are talking about responsibilities that have been assigned. So in many texts, in many Puranas, in the Shastras, if you even take the Guru Charitra, which is dedicated to Lord Dattatreya, Sri Dattatreya, it is very clearly mentioned what our responsibilities are. So, when we have a temple, when we have a place of worship, we have to maintain it. That is why we have the Prana Pratishtha. And once in every 12 years because that's the time taken for the planet Jupiter or Guru Brihaspati to complete all the 12 Rashis. There is the process of recharging or Kumbhabhishekam, wherein a whole 48-day process of mantra chanting and renewal is done. Because the temple also has needs that recharge. So who can do the recharging? Who can maintain that prana pratishtha place? Now for another example, when we feed the Brahmins during the Pitru Paksha or during the Shraddha, they take on the karmas. Not even that. Whenever we do a simple Ganapati Homa or a Navagraha Homa, when we give the Dakshina along with the fruits and the coconut, they take on the karma of the Yajman and the family. So that is why they become a medium of transmuting the karma. So, as you said, the evolution needed to transmute the karma. That is why there are a set of mantras prescribed so that the karma does not affect them completely. For a simple example, as a doctor, you would know because you are handling so many patients, and especially maybe during this epidemic, you do stand a risk despite whatever precautions that you may be following according to the medical system. So here the act is one who is surrendered his or her whole life to the divine and becoming an adapter between the divine and people. Because someone who is doing some other responsibility, for example, a CA, a doctor, an engineer, a teacher, they may not find time to do the austerities completely because they will have to look into other activities. So that is the true idea of a Brahmin, a life of penance and austerities. That is why if you see in olden times, the king would look after the Brahmin. You would not have them coming into the market and needing to buy things because they are spending most of their time in prayers for the whole world. That is why when we finish the Ramayana Parayana, towards the end, we say Swasti Prajabhe Paripalayantam. That is Swasti. We pray for the whole world. So here we are talking about the Brahmin who is the adapter, who is the connect through these austerities.
Very, very nicely put. And so this is a distribution of responsibilities and those who are following those austerities and devotions. So we have to sift between the real Brahmins and those who are Brahmins just by name. And those real Brahmins could have their names from any caste, any jati, and yet if they're doing the austerities, if they're following the principles of devotion, for example, the Valmiki Ramayana was written by Valmiki and the Vedas by Vedvyas. We worship that. And they were not born Brahmins. They were born in the lowest of the castes. So thank you very much. It was a very nice talking to you about the Pitru Paksha, as the Pitru Paksha would be drawing to close very soon. And after this, we will be talking about the Navaratris. So till then, Vanakkam, Pranam, Namaskar.